Good morning. My name is Kenji Dyck, and I am graduating with a major in Communications and Media and a minor in English. Over the last 4 years at CMU, I like to think that I have spent my time learning how to tell stories. Stories that are profound, confrontational, and ultimately hopeful. But in my attempt to understand the nature of storytelling, I've also developed a burning curiosity. A curiosity that has especially affected my studies this past school year. After spending hundreds of hours listening to lectures, watching and reading various narratives, and writing way too many papers, I ultimately came to this central question. How can our creative stories be expressive of something more? How can they be expressive of what some would call the transcendent? Now, what is the transcendent in this context? While there's some debate over the meaning of this term, I like to think that a moment of transcendence is one of profound emotional transformation, in which the viewers briefly witness the glory and love that is God. It is those moments where watching a great movie, reading an engaging book, or listening to a beautiful piece of music that produces immense euphoria. It's hard to put into words, but when it occurs, I feel, simply put, overwhelmed. Overwhelmed by the piece's expression of a greater beauty, of a form of love that is beyond our comprehension. When our creative works achieve such an effect, we become not only emotionally engaged with the work, but are also oriented to that which lies beyond the piece itself. So how can a creative piece be expressive of this? As you can imagine, this is no easy task, and the first problem that I ran into when trying to figure this out is that many stories that surround us today seem to produce the opposite of transcendence. In some classes, such as Chris Huebner's The City and the Wire, and Paul Dick's Revenge on the Stage and Screen, we encounter stories of depravity, cruelty, and death. In pieces of media such as the television show The Wire, and films as Calvary and First Reformed, we witness characters who are subject to immense suffering. These narratives are difficult because they're reflective of our own suffering and a reminder of our fallen nature. Therefore, when we watch these stories, we are tempted to come to despairing conclusions. But despite the temptation towards despair, I came to realize from the suffering of these various characters that the transcendent could be expressed. In his book, Cities of God, Anglican theologian Graham Ward argues that our bodies, our physical material bodies, are signs of that which lies beyond the material as the nature of God's being. It is only through the materiality of our bodies that we're able to participate in the glorious, beautiful, and loving nature of the eternal. Thus, it is by recognizing the wounds of creation within our stories, the pains of the material, that the promise of the resurrection can be communicated. While I had spent a lot of my classes writing and thinking about this, the profound truth of transcendence came to me unexpectedly during a performance of a choral piece. I'm a chorister for CMU Singers, and about a month ago, our choir performed for a Tuesday morning chapel. We regularly do this, so everything indicated that this performance would be no different. However, as we began singing, something changed. The song we performed that day was A Celtic Prayer by Barry Sanders, which you will hear this afternoon. And the song reads as a prayer as follows. May the Christ who walks on wounded feet walk with you on the road. May the Christ who serves with wounded hands stretch out your hands to serve. May the Christ who loves with a wounded heart open up your heart to love. May you see Christ in everyone you meet, and may everyone you meet see the face of Christ in you. Despite the fact I performed this song numerous times, I was suddenly overwhelmed. In my attempt to understand how creative works communicate the holy, I realized that this song was a perfect summary of transcendental works, particularly expressed in the line, may you see Christ in everyone you meet, and may everyone you meet see the face of Christ in you. Here the prayer indicates that in order for us to witness the transcendent, that glorious reality that is beyond our comprehension, we must look towards the fallen but redeemed materiality of our varied bodies. In that moment, in that specific lyric, I saw a glimmer of the eternal. But this time, I knew how such a moment of transcendence came to be. From communications, English, philosophy, theology, and finally music, I have learned that the transcendent is expressed from within the material. In order to create stories that is expressive of something more, of something that is beyond the paper, the pen, the score sheet, and even the screen, we must tell stories about the pains of the ordinary, so to communicate the extraordinary. May you see Christ in everyone you meet, and may everyone you meet see the face of Christ in you. For having learned that, I am grateful. Thank you.